Welcome to the Rulebook Tavern Chronicles, where we are talking about role-playing games. Today, we will be diving deep into the champion class in Pathfinder 2e. So, if you are looking to embody like a righteous warrior, a stalwart defender who channels divine power to protect allies and vanquish foes, then buckle up because this deep dive is for you.
The champion, I think, really embodies that classic fantasy hero, drawing strength from their faith and becoming a beacon of hope on the battlefield. They're not primarily spellcasters like some other divine classes you might see.
Right.
Instead, they channel that divine energy directly into their actions. They wield it to bolster their allies and smite their enemies.
So if I'm picturing this right, my champion isn't going to be hanging back, lobbing fireballs. They're going to be right in the thick of it, like a holy knight, right?
Yeah, that's a great way to visualize it. The champion is all about being in the fray, a steadfast bulwark against the enemy's onslaught. Their high hit points, make them incredibly durable,
Yeah.
allowing them to stand toe-to-toe with fearsome foes while their allies focus on their strengths.
Okay, so they're tough. But what makes them stand out from other martial classes? What truly makes a champion a champion?
Well, it's their incredible ability to react to danger, especially threats against their allies. It's almost like a sixth sense, a divinely granted awareness that allows them to step in at the crucial moment and turn the tide of battle.
I see. So they're not just hitting hard, they're strategically positioned to protect their team. It's like having a guardian angel watching over the party's spellcasters who often get targeted in combat.
Exactly. They're the ones who stand between their fragile allies and a charging ogre. The ones who take the hit to ensure the wizard can keep casting. They're the embodiment of selflessness and devotion.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But even the most devoted warrior has limits, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the downsides to playing a champion? I need to know what I'm getting myself into.
Well, their main limitation, I would say, is their reliance on martial prowess. While they do have access to some divine magic, they're not going to be slinging spells like a cleric. Their strength lies in their weapons and armor, their ability to stand firm against any foe. So if you're looking for a class with a lot of spellcasting versatility, the champion might not be the best fit.
So there's a trade-off.
Hmm.
You get incredible durability and protective abilities, but you sacrifice some spellcasting flexibility. Makes sense. Now, let's say I'm ready to create a champion. What are some of the best ancestries and backgrounds to consider? I'm thinking about those classic core rulebooks, just to keep things simple.
If you're diving into Core Rulebook 1, a Dwarven champion is, a classic choice. Dwarves naturally have high constitution, which is perfect for a frontline fighter, and their connection to Torag, the god of craft and protection, fits the champion archetype beautifully.
That sounds about right. A stalwart dwarf standing firm against a horde of goblins, shield raised high, protecting their allies. I love it. But what if I'm looking for something a bit more exotic, something with a little more flair? Does Core Rulebook 2 offer any exciting options?
You're speaking my language. Core Rulebook 2 introduces the Dragonblood heritage. Imagine a champion with the strength and resilience of a dragon, perhaps even capable of breathing fire to protect their allies.
Okay.
That fiery breath weapon adds a whole new dimension to the champion's arsenal, giving them a powerful offensive option in addition to their defensive abilities.
Okay, now that's epic. A dragon-blooded champion, standing as a fiery bulwark against the forces of darkness. I'm already hooked. What about their background? What would truly make this champion memorable?
For a background, the Acolyte fits perfectly. It reinforces the champion's divine connection, highlighting their dedication to their deity. Plus, it gives them access to some extra healing spells, which always comes in handy for a frontline fighter.
Right, because even the toughest warrior needs a little healing every now and then. But I'm also drawn to the criminal background. It feels a little unexpected for a champion, like there's a hidden depth to their story. Maybe they're seeking redemption through their service to their god.
That's a fantastic idea. It adds a layer of complexity to their motivations. Maybe they're trying to atone for past mistakes, using their strength to protect others and bring justice to the world. Imagine a champion who used to be a thief, now wielding their agility and cunning to defend the innocent.
I love it. It's like they've turned their life around, channeling their skills for good instead of evil.
Mm-hmm.
A truly compelling character concept. Now, we've talked about their martial prowess and their divine connection, but what about their spells? You mentioned they have access to some divine magic. What should a champion focus on when choosing skulls?
Given their role as protectors and healers, spells that enhance those abilities are key. Heal is a must-have, allowing them to directly restore their allies' health in the heat of battle. And Sanctuary can be a lifesaver, warding off attacks against a vulnerable ally who needs a moment to recover.
So they're not just a wall of muscle and steel, they're also a source of healing and protection for their party. It's like having a paladin and a cleric rolled into one. Now, for all those listeners who are itching to create their own champion, what are some key tips for playing this class effectively? What strategies should they keep in mind?
Embrace your role as a protector. Position yourself strategically on the battlefield, standing between your allies and danger. Don't be afraid to take the hit for the wizard or the rogue. Your high hit points and defensive abilities are there for a reason.
Be the shield. I like it. What else?
Master your reactions. The champion's ability to react to threats is one of their defining features. Use those reactions to interrupt enemy attacks, protect your allies, and control the flow of combat. Those split-second decisions can turn the tide of battle.
It's all about those clutch moments, those heroic interventions that save the day. What about choosing a deity and a weapon? Does that play a significant role in how a champion plays?
Absolutely. Choose a deity whose domains align with your desired playstyle. Do you want to be a righteous warrior wielding a great sword in the name of Iomedae? Or perhaps a nimble defender wielding a rapier and channeling the grace of Desna? The possibilities are endless. And don't forget about your weapon. Choose one that suits your strengths and your deity's favored weapon.
So much to consider. It sounds like playing a champion is more than just hitting things with a sword. It's about making strategic choices, embodying your divine connection, and truly becoming a beacon of hope for your allies. Is there anything else a champion should keep in mind as they venture forth on their heroic journey?
Never underestimate the power of your Lay on Hands ability. It's a valuable resource for healing your allies, especially in those critical moments when a single healing touch can make all the difference. And remember, a champion's true strength lies not just in their martial prowess, but in their unwavering devotion to their cause and their allies. They are the protectors, the guardians, the heart of the party.
Beautifully said. It's a reminder that the champion is more than just a class. It's an embodiment of heroic ideals, selflessness, and unwavering faith, ready to dive even deeper into the champion's world.
Let's do it. There's so much more to explore. We've only just scratched the surface.
All right, I'm ready to delve deeper. We've established that champions are these incredible protectors, drawing strength from their faith and standing firm against any threat. But I want to get into the nitty-gritty. How do they actually control the battlefield? What tactics make a champion truly shine in combat?
Well, it's all about, understanding positioning and using your abilities to dictate the flow of battle. Think of the champion as like a conductor orchestrating a symphony of destruction, but also, a symphony of protection for their allies.
Okay, I love that analogy. The champion as a conductor, using their actions to guide the flow of the music, or in this case, the fight. But how does that translate to actual combat?
So imagine a scenario where a fire-breathing dragon swoops down, aiming straight for your party's squishy wizard. A champion, with the stand against the tide feat, can essentially step in and force the dragon to go through them to get to their target.
So they're not just taking hits, they're manipulating the battlefield, forcing the enemy to engage on their terms. That buys the wizard some precious time to cast a powerful spell or reposition themselves. Smart.
Exactly. And it's not just about protecting allies, it's also about disrupting the enemy's plans. Champions have a variety of abilities that can interrupt or hinder their opponents.
So more than just a shield, a champion can also be disruptive force, throwing a wrench into the enemy's strategy. Tell me more about these disruptive abilities.
Take the shield block reaction, for example. A champion can use their shield to deflect an incoming attack, potentially negating damage that would have been dealt to an ally.
That's classic champion right there.
Yeah.
Standing strong, shield raised high, protecting their companions from harm. But can they also take the fight to the enemy?
Absolutely. Feats like Disarming Strike allow a champion to strike an enemy's weapon, knocking it away and leaving them vulnerable. It turns defense into offense in a heartbeat.
Now that's satisfying. So you're not just a passive wall. You could be a proactive force, disrupting the enemy and creating openings for your allies to exploit. What other tools does a champion have to disrupt enemies?
Don't forget about the power of fear.
Yeah.
A well-placed fear spell can send a horde of goblins running for the hills, ending the fight before it even begins.
So a champion can be a psychological threat as well. That's interesting. It sounds like playing a champion is all about being adaptable, using their abilities to control the battlefield and react to whatever the enemy throws at them.
You're getting it. They're a versatile class capable of both protecting their allies and disrupting their enemies. Now, are you ready to explore some specific builds and playstyles that can maximize the champion's potential?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm always excited to see how a class can be customized to fit different play styles and personalities.
Hmm.
Let's start with something classic. What does an unyielding defender champion look like?
This build is all about maximizing the champion's durability and ability to stand against overwhelming odds. We're talking about an immovable object, a bastion of strength that can weather any storm.
Okay, when I picture that, I immediately think of a dwarf, heavily armored, shield raised, standing firm against a wave of enemies. Am I on the right track?
You're spot on. A dwarven champion, with their high constitution and connection to Toreg, is a natural fit for this archetype. Feats like toughness and die hard further enhance their ability to shrug off blows that would cripple other warriors.
Now that's what I call peace of mind for the rest of the party. Knowing your champion can soak up those hits lets everyone else focus on their roles, but can a purely defensive champion also contribute to the offense?
Absolutely. The unyielding defender isn't just about standing still and taking punishment. They can use abilities like shield charge to crash into the enemy lines, disrupting their formation and creating openings for their allies to exploit.
So it's a balance of defense and offense, choosing the right moment to strike while remaining that unyielding wall of protection. Very cool. But let's shift gears a bit. What about a champion who's more about agility and precision? What does a divine duelist champion look like?
Now we're talking about a champion who dances through the battlefield, using their speed and finesse to control the flow of combat. They're masters of positioning, striking swiftly while also protecting their allies.
Okay, for this one, I'm picturing an elf light on their feet, wielding a rapier with deadly grace. Maybe they're devoted to a deity of battle or protection, guiding their movements with divine inspiration.
Exactly. An elven champion with their natural dexterity and agility excels in this archetype.
Right.
Feats like agile, grace, and mobility enhance their movement, allowing them to weave through combat, dodging blows, and flanking enemies with ease.
It's like watching a whirlwind of divine energy, flitting through the ranks, striking with surgical precision and disrupting the enemy's attacks. So they're not just fast, they're also masters of disruption.
Precisely. Feats like trip and disarm let them control their opponents, knocking them off balance, stripping them of their weapons, and leaving them vulnerable to follow-up attacks. It's a mix of martial skill and cunning tactics, all fueled by their divine connection.
I'm loving this. It's like a master swordsman, but infused with divine power. Sounds incredibly engaging to play, but it also highlights the versatility of the champion. You've shown us two very different play styles, the unyielding defender and the divine duelist.
And that's just scratching the surface. The beauty of the champion is that they can be molded to fit a wide range of concepts and strategies. Ultimately, it's up to the player to decide how they want their champion to fight, what kind of divine warrior they want to embody.
That's what makes character creation so exciting. It's all about finding that perfect blend of mechanics and personality, creating a character who feels unique and powerful. We've covered so much ground in this episode, from basic mechanics to advanced tactics and different play styles.
And we're not done yet. There's still more to uncover about the champion, especially their unique relationship with their chosen deity.
All right, now I'm even more intrigued. Let's dive into that divine connection in our next segment and see how it truly shapes the champion's journey. Welcome back to the Rulebook Tavern Chronicles. We've been delving into the champion class in Pathfinder 2e, exploring their martial prowess, their tactical flexibility, and those awesome protective abilities. But now let's talk about what truly sets them apart, their divine connection.
Yeah, you know what fascinates me about champions is that their power isn't just about, swinging a sword or wearing heavy armor.
Right.
It's deeply intertwined with their chosen deity. It's a bond that goes far beyond just like flavor text,
Yeah.
It shapes who they are, how they fight, and even the choices they make in the world.
Okay, so we're not just talking about a cleric who happens to be good in melee, right? This divine connection is fundamental to the champion's identity. But how does choosing a deity actually impact their abilities and playstyle in a practical sense?
It starts with alignment.
Okay.
A champion's deity dictates their alignment, which in turn, opens or closes doors to certain feats and spells. So imagine a champion devoted to Iamade, the goddess of valor and righteous warfare. They might gravitate towards feats that enhance their ability to smite evil, becoming a true force of good on the battlefield.
So their deity's portfolio directly influences their strengths and weaknesses. It's like choosing a specialization within the champion class, focusing their abilities based on their divine patron. That's really cool. Let's get even more specific. Can you give me an example of how a particular deity might influence a champion's choices in combat?
Think about the Divine Ally feat. It allows a champion to call upon their deity's power to enhance their attacks, granting them bonus damage based on their alignment. A champion of a good deity might gain additional benefits when facing an evil foe, their strikes fueled by righteous fury. On the other hand, a champion of a lawful deity might find themselves more effective against chaotic enemies, their attacks empowered by the forces of order.
So it's not just about raw power. It's about choosing the right approach for each encounter. And it sounds like this divine connection isn't limited to combat. How might a champion's deity influence their role-playing opportunities and the overall story?
Imagine two champions, both equally skilled in combat but serving different deities. One follows Sarenrae, the goddess of healing and redemption, while the other is devoted to Calistria, the goddess of revenge and seductive guile.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How would their different deities manifest in their personalities and actions?
Well, the follower of Sarenrae might prioritize healing and protecting others, embodying compassion and forgiveness. They might always seek peaceful solutions first, offering a helping hand to those in need. But if forced to fight, their actions would be tempered by mercy, seeking to redeem their enemies rather than simply destroy them.
That's a beautiful image, a true embodiment of Sarenrae's gentle light. But what about the follower of Calistria? I imagine their approach would be drastically different.
Absolutely. A champion of Calistria might be more cunning and ruthless, using their charm and skill to outmaneuver their opponents. Revenge would be a powerful motivator for them, and they might be more willing to strike from the shadows, delivering swift and decisive justice. Their actions would be guided by a fierce loyalty to those they care about, but also a burning desire for vengeance against those who have wronged them.
Wow, that's a stark contrast. It highlights the depth and nuance that a champion's deity can bring to the game. We're not just talking about mechanics, we're talking about motivations, personality, and how those elements shape the way a character interacts with the world.
Exactly. And the beauty of Pathfinder's vast pantheon is that there's a deity for every conceivable personality and playstyle. You can find a god or goddess who aligns perfectly with your vision for your champion, whether it's a noble knight, a cunning rogue, or something in between.
So players have a lot of freedom to create a truly unique and compelling character, shaping their champion's story through their choice of deity. But let's talk about the role-playing aspect for a moment. Choosing a deity is one thing, but how can players effectively bring that divine connection to life at the table? It's about more than just saying, my God told me to do this, right?
Absolutely. It's about weaving your deity's influence into your actions, both big and small. Think about how your deity's domains might manifest in your champion's personality and interactions.
Give me a concrete example. Let's say my champion is a follower of Godsra, the god of nature and the sea. How might I showcase that connection in a meaningful way?
Well, a champion of Gazra might have a deep respect for the natural world, always seeking harmony with their surroundings. They might speak with reverence about the wind and waves, perhaps even incorporating elements of nature into their combat style, flowing like water or striking with the sudden fury of a storm.
So it's about finding ways to express your faith through your actions, not just your words. It's about showing, not telling. That makes a lot of sense. And it sounds like there's a lot of room for creativity, allowing players to really personalize their champion's relationship with their deity.
Precisely. The divine connection is a wellspring of inspiration, offering endless possibilities for role-playing and storytelling. Embrace it, explore it, and let your champion's faith shine through in every aspect of their being.
This has been incredibly enlightening. It's clear that the champion's relationship with their deity is so much more than a background detail. It's a source of strength, a guiding principle, and a wellspring of inspiration for both players and their characters.
And as you embark on your own champion's journey, remember that their true power lies not just in their martial skill, but in their unwavering devotion to their chosen deity. It's that faith that will guide them through trials, empower them in battle, and ultimately shape their destiny.
Beautifully said. It's a reminder that the champion is more than just a class. It's an embodiment of faith, courage, and the enduring bond between mortals and the divine.
Indeed. And as we conclude our deep dive into the champion class, we encourage you to explore this multifaceted archetype, to embrace the depth of their divine connection, and to forge your own legend in the world of Pathfinder.
Hope you enjoyed this deep dive with us, and we'll see you soon to talk about other classes.